Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, January 5th. Happy New Year. Senate President Karen Spilka is our guest this morning. Let's go on the record. After a hectic finish to 2024, Beacon Hill looks ahead to the new year. For the Senate President, challenges from the State House and the White House. It's time to go on the record.
From WCVB Channel 5, the inside word from Washington to Beacon Hill. Today's newsmakers are going on the record.
To OTR, everyone. I'm Ed Harding.
And I'm Ben Cibino. Sharman Saketi off this week, and joining us at the table, Massachusetts Senate President Karen Spilka, reelected to that position last week, a position she's held now since 2018. Madam President, congratulations. Happy New Year. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for
Happy New
having
Year.
me, and Happy New Year to both of you.
It's always
Happy,
great
healthy.
to have you with us. So let's start off with we were talking about the legislative session that just ended last week, and in your words, you called it historically productive. Landmark policy on housing, economic development, health care, but also chaotic at times. From this perspective, some 100 bills virtually rushed to the governor's desk in the final hours of the year. Why does that happen? Is that like cramming for a final exam in the last few minutes, or what?
Sometimes, and I will talk. I'd love to talk about some of the reforms that I'd like to present for this session to try to prevent that gridlock. Most of those 100 bills are local bills. You know, cities and towns petitioning the legislature for more liquor licenses, or to allow a firefighter to continue working beyond the age that they're supposed to stop working, or lots of other things. But there were some major bills that both the House and Senate, we passed the conference committee bill, which means both the House and Senate had discussed, vetted, and debated their own version of that bill in full. It went to the conference committee, and then the conference committee picks pieces from either the House or the Senate. So the pieces in the conference committee bill have already been discussed, debated, and vetted, and that comes into the final conference committee bill. It would be great to get them a little earlier, but you know, the fact these are very, very complicated issue. A lot of it was either prescription drugs, lowering the cost, which I'm very proud of. Chronic drugs will be, our residents are going to save thousands of dollars for chronic drugs for diabetes and asthma and heart conditions. And we did some market oversight reform in the wake of Stewart to hopefully prevent that from happening again.
What I'm hearing is that as complicated as they can be, some of them are not as overly complicated. So perhaps that could be thinned from the herd before it's sent to the governor's desk.
Correct. We can always do better.
Yeah.
We can always do better. And some of the reforms that I would like to present, and I said on Wednesday, were things like reporting, getting bills out of committee. Usually it's the first Wednesday of February. I would like to try to, of the second year of session, move that to the first year of session to get that so that bills can get to the floor earlier.
Quicker,
yes, and there's several other things, reporting out, having more public conference committee hearings, especially the first one, so that people can hear what are the subjects.
Because some of these deadlines are self-imposed and artificial, right?
Exactly. The July 31st quote, end of session, that is a totally arbitrary, artificial deadline. And you know, it wasn't just this session that we continued to work. And on the 31st or August 1st, I said, you know, the session's not over. We will continue to work until the last day of session, and we did. And that's when we did major economic development, landmark. I mean, it is so chock-packed with terrific stuff that I still am, you know, things are popping into my head. Major climate bill to help Massachusetts stay on its 2050 climate goals. Maternal health we reformed to help pregnant people and have equity. Long-term care we reformed. That system needed to be replaced. Our veterans, we did what's called the HEROES Act. I was informed this week that the Pentagon has said that this Massachusetts HEROES Act is the premier veterans bill in the nation right now. And that's not it. We did so much more.
So it sounds like this July 31st deadline you may want to do away with. Is the Speaker, have you talked to the Speaker about that? Are you both in alignment on that?
I think there is an agreement. I feel that we should continue with conference committee bills, not other major bills past July 31st, because as I mentioned, the conference committee bills have already been discussed, vetted, and debated and voted on both the House version and the Senate version.
You've taken issue with a couple of things. First off is the media and how the media reports in the legislature, you think there's kind of what is positive that you've been highlighting here is overshadowed by negative coverage. So I want to ask you about that, but I also want to ask you about trust and transparency. Question one, which was approved an audit of the legislature, is now officially on the books. State Auditor Diana DiZoglio has accused leadership of stonewalling on that. So first off, the media. Secondly, the auditor. What's your take?
You know, I do believe that some of the media have focused on the negative and leaving behind all of the positive, which is too bad because we want our residents to know what we're doing. I'm proud of what the Senate has accomplished in the legislature. I want them to know. Sometimes we'll send information to the media, sometimes it's printed in the media, sometimes it's not. So we are right now trying to figure out how we can do better as a Senate to get the word out. We don't always have the soapbox, but we can use the digital media better. We're looking at a board in front of the Senate chamber so that we can publicize what's going on, increase our digital presence in letting people know what's going on.
Open records, would you be willing to fully open the legislature to the open records law?
We will probably take a look at that. There's a lot of other things that I think are important to do, such as the Senate has long held that our committee votes should be public and online for everybody to see. I've never understood why we can't do that. So in our Senate committee, on the Senate rules, we have Senate committee votes are online. I am proposing that we put joint committee votes online, and if we can't get agreement, I will have the senators do it anyway, put online all of the testimony that we get.
And quickly on the auditor, though, she says you're stonewalling this audit.
Well, the law actually just took effect this past Friday, so it wasn't effective. So, you know, if we get something from the auditor, we will certainly take a look at it and respond to it, and we will make our response public.
That doesn't sound like, it sounds like you will delay it, no?
No, I don't have anything to delay right now because it literally just became effective.
Yeah.
You know, but I realize, you know, we have heard the residents. I'm planning on a listening tour for the Senate to do a listening tour around the state. That's new, to hear from constituents all across
Haven't you already honestly heard from constituents that it was voted in overwhelmingly? So haven't you already heard?
We've heard to some extent, you know. I believe that we can be more transparent. I do have some concerns that I've voiced before about the constitutional issues of separation of powers and others. It's not just me or the Speaker that have voiced that. The Attorney General herself has said that there may be some major constitutional issues that have to be addressed. And in fact, when there was a hearing on this issue, the auditor's own constitutional experts mentioned that there probably were constitutional issues that needed to be addressed. So I don't mind, you know, the transparency. What I do mind is not fulfilling my oath of following the Constitution. This past Wednesday, all of the legislators took an oath to uphold our Constitution.
I understand your response and the complex nature of it, and I don't want to step away from it, but I'd like to ask you this before we hit commercial. One of the bills that is now on the governor's desk is legislation to prevent another shock to the healthcare system like the Stewart healthcare crisis. It would increase oversight of private equity firms and raise penalties for failing to comply with financial reporting requirements. And we preface that by saying this. On OTR last month, Health Secretary Kate Walsh said that private equity is needed to fund expansion and innovation. Are you confident that new guardrails will be enough?
I'm hopeful, but I do believe that this bill, and I'm glad for you to raise this, is a step forward. It's a positive step forward. Is it the be-all and end-all? No. And we are still learning more and more about Stewart and private equity. The whole country, almost every state, is struggling with this. Massachusetts is at the forefront by passing this bill. It puts some guardrails into it. You know, we've learned that in many instances, small private practices do have some private equity investment and they help, but we need guardrails. They shouldn't be making the decisions as to who gets care, how, when, what, etc. So I think, and they certainly shouldn't be taking over the medical decisions. So I think that as long as there's guardrails and we have some of that in this bill, we probably will need to continue looking at this and do another bill.
Senate President's in the chair. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.